My chosen one, something is shifting in the unseen realm right now. And if your spirit is even a little sensitive, you can already feel the tremble in the atmosphere. Tonight, a message has been released that almost no human was meant to hear. A message tied directly to the title you just read. God just broke heaven's final seal and released a $1 trillion miracle check, and Archangel Michael has been commanded to deliver the warning before the angels take it back forever. Listen carefully, because what you're about to hear is not ordinary, not symbolic, and not metaphorical. This is a prophetic alert straight from the chambers of divine authority. Heaven has opened something that has been sealed for centuries, locked behind layers of protection, guarded by angels who move faster than lightning and stronger than storms. And Archangel Michael, the great warrior of God, is standing closer to you than you think, holding something that carries your name in bold heavenly ink. But here is the shocking truth that very few people know. The miracle check is not money alone. It is a divine allocation, a supernatural inheritance, a release of abundance, restoration, and covering that is meant for a very specific group, those who are awake in this hour, those whose spirit refuses to sleep through a heavenly announcement. Archangel Michael wants you to understand this. Heaven never releases anything without intention. This $1 trillion miracle check is not a financial gimmick. It is a prophetic symbol of what has been accumulating for you, layer by layer, year after year, through every tear, every betrayal, every delay, every closed door that made no sense. Heaven has been storing compensation, storing restoration, storing divine repayment. And now, the final seal has been broken, meaning the waiting period is over. But here's the part that will shake you. Not everyone will be able to take their share. Michael whispered this urgently. Tell them time is shorter than they think. What has been released will not remain open forever. The angels are moving. The allocation is shifting. And those who hesitate will miss what their spirit has cried for. You might feel something rising in your chest right now. A heat, a pull, a sensation like the atmosphere around you is tightening. That's because heaven is scanning hearts at this very moment. The check is spiritual in structure, but earthly in manifestation. It's a covenant check, meaning whatever you are lacking, whatever you have been praying for, whatever you have begged God to restore, it is all wrapped inside this release. Some of you have been robbed emotionally, some of you financially, some spiritually, some relationally. Some have lost opportunities that were stolen by envy, betrayal, or pure evil. But hear this with attention. Heaven never lets theft go unpaid. Archangel Michael has been watching the battles you fought quietly. He has seen the nights you cried, the mornings you forced yourself to get up, the seasons when nothing made sense, the people who walked away, the ones who lied, the ones who drained your spirit. He saw it all, and heaven kept the receipts. This $1 trillion check represents a divine reimbursement. Not just a blessing, but a repayment with interest. A supernatural balancing of spiritual accounts. God is settling cases that have been waiting for judgment for years. And Michael is standing guard over this release because the enemy has been trying to intercept blessings that were never his to touch. But now comes the most important part of this message. The angels will not wait long. Michael wants you to understand that heavenly windows do not stay open forever. When the seal breaks, there is a moment, a short moment, where destiny shifts, where heaven moves faster, where miracles travel toward those who are spiritually awake. And right now, in this very moment, you are standing inside that divine window. Don't let your mind wander. Don't let your thoughts drift. Don't let confusion steal your moment, because what's coming next will determine if you step into the release or watch it pass you by. Something extraordinary is about to be revealed, something that ties your story to this $1 trillion miracle release more deeply than you can imagine. Hold your breath and stay close before you move or scroll even an inch. Pause, because the next revelation is the part people regret missing. This is where the supernatural becomes personal. This is where the check becomes yours. If this message is stirring your spirit, type "I claim my heavenly share" in the comments. Blessing code 1444 is now unlocked over your life. Beloved soul of light, the moment you opened this message, something in the heavenly realm shifted in your direction, and Archangel Michael has not moved from his position near you since. His presence is not accidental. It is intentional, precise, and deeply connected to the $1 trillion miracle check that was released when God broke the final seal. A seal like this has not opened in generations, and the magnitude of what it carries is shaking the spiritual atmosphere around you in ways your natural eyes cannot comprehend. Michael wants you to understand that heaven never opens a final seal lightly. It is an act of divine urgency, a response to a spiritual imbalance that must be corrected. Every time a seal breaks, heaven adjusts the lives of those who have been waiting, suffering, enduring, and standing under battles they did not choose but were forced to carry. You, beloved, are one of those souls heaven has been watching closely. The final seal was not broken randomly. It was broken because the spiritual timeline has reached a moment where what was owed to you can no longer be delayed. The $1 trillion miracle check is not printed on paper like earthly currency. It is written in spiritual substance, carrying the weight of promises God made to you long before you knew how to pray for yourself. It represents inheritance, restoration, turnaround, divine compensation. And Archangel Michael is the protector of this release because the moment heaven sends something significant, darkness tries to intercept it. But this time, the seal was broken in a way that the enemy cannot track. Heaven sealed your portion in light, and once light encodes something, darkness cannot touch it. But there is something deeper happening behind the scenes that Michael wants you to recognize. The release of this miracle check is not only about blessing, it is about closure. There are chapters of your life that heaven is now officially shutting. Cycles you have repeated for years are ending in this hour. Patterns that drained you, broke you, confused you, and made you question your worth are being shut down. The final seal broke because the final cycle broke. You are stepping into a phase of life where what you lost must return multiplied, where what was withheld must be released forcefully, and where every spiritual debt owed to you must be paid in full. Some of you have wondered why the battles intensified recently, why certain relationships suddenly cracked, why people change, why uncertainty grew louder. You assumed something was going wrong, but Michael reveals something different. It was the shaking before the seal. Heaven always shakes the atmosphere before releasing something massive. The enemy was not attacking you because you were weak. He was attacking because he sensed the release getting close and hoped you would give up before it arrived. But you did not. And because you did not, the seal broke on your behalf. Michael is showing a vision, a scroll of light with your name flowing on it. This is the heavenly record of everything you endured silently. The disappointments you hid from the world. The tears only your pillow saw. The prayers no one knew you prayed. Heaven documented every moment, and the $1 trillion miracle check is encoded with compensation for all of it. This is why you were drawn to this message. Your spirit recognized what your mind did not yet understand. Your portion is real. Your portion is active. Your portion is in motion. But here is the part you must pay close attention to. The check is released, but acceptance is a spiritual act. Heaven never forces what it gives. It invites. It signals. It pulls. And Michael is urging you to stay alert because distractions attempt to steal moments like this. The enemy knows that when a person accepts a heavenly allocation, their life shifts permanently. This is why, right before a breakthrough, confusion increases. People irritate you. Doubts whisper louder. Fatigue grows stronger. These are not coincidences. They are spiritual diversions designed to pull you away from the moment heaven has prepared for you. Do not let that happen now. Something bigger than you imagined is unfolding. Your name is being spoken in heavenly halls. Your portion is being stamped with a seal of approval. Your spiritual account is being credited with everything that was withheld from you in seasons past. The check is not just wealth, it is destiny. It is justice. It is divine repayment. And the most breathtaking part is this: Michael is not guarding the check itself. He is guarding you. He is shielding your spirit from anything that would block you from receiving the fullness of what heaven has released. When an angel guards you instead of guarding the blessing, it means heaven is confident the blessing is secure, but wants to ensure you are ready to receive it fully. The next revelation will show you why the timing of this release is so critical, and why your heart was led here in this very hour. Something that was hidden from you is about to become clear. Stay close, because what comes next will unlock a dimension of understanding that ties your life, your battles, and your destiny into one unstoppable divine pattern. Before you blink, the message will deepen. Hold your spirit steady, because the next unveiling carries a personal key for you that heaven has kept protected until now. Trust me, you will want to hear what comes next. If this message resonates with your spirit, type "I receive the divine release" in the comments. Blessing code 2299 is now active over your path. Precious heart aligned with heaven. What you are feeling right now is not imagination. It is not coincidence. It is not emotional suggestion. The atmosphere around you is shifting because Archangel Michael is unfolding a deeper layer of the $1 trillion miracle check that God released when the final seal broke. This moment is not random. Heaven timed this encounter precisely because you have reached a threshold where what once resisted you can no longer stand. Michael is showing something extraordinary. A vault in the heavenly realm, glowing with a golden radiance so intense that even the angels shield their faces. Inside that vault are spiritual inheritances assigned to God's people for generations. Some never received theirs because fear, doubt, delay, or spiritual interference kept them from stepping forward. But now something unprecedented has happened. The final seal breaking did not just open the vault, it forced an overflow. Heaven's abundance has spilled into the earthly realm, and you are standing in the front line of that overflow. This is why the message you are hearing feels personal. It is. Your spirit recognizes what your earthly mind is still processing. The $1 trillion miracle check is not symbolic hope. It is prophetic activation. It represents a heavenly transaction that has now moved from storage into release. Michael emphasizes that this release did not come easily. You must understand the warfare behind it. The enemy resisted this opening because he knew how much it would change your life. He fought your confidence. He fought your self-worth. He fought your relationships. He fought your momentum. He fought your clarity. He fought your rest. He even fought your identity. Every time you felt like you were losing pieces of yourself, heaven was watching. And as those battles grew heavier, the amount stored for you increased. Heaven never lets a battle go unbalanced. Divine justice works differently. Where the enemy pressed you down, God lifted your portion higher. Where you were robbed, heaven stored more. Where you were betrayed, heaven upgraded your destiny. This is why Michael is involved so directly. His role is not simply to deliver the message, but to protect the alignment necessary for you to claim what heaven has released. Michael is a warrior, yes, but he is also a guardian of divine timing. When heaven opens something as massive as a final seal, the enemy tries to create noise, confusion, or emotional fog to prevent people from realizing what is being placed in front of them. Some people sleep through their visitation. Some scroll past their divine moment. But you didn't. You arrived exactly when heaven expected you to. And now comes the revelation that ties into the heart of this message. The $1 trillion miracle check is built from 4 layers of heaven's abundance: restoration, acceleration, multiplication, and fulfillment. Each one corresponds to a spiritual wound you carried, and each one now carries repayment. Michael reveals that your life has been operating in delay for too long. Things that should have happened years ago were blocked. Paths that should have opened stayed closed. Opportunities that belonged to you were given to others. And heaven has said, enough. This is why the final seal broke now. The delay had reached its expiration date. Michael is unfolding a vision, a hand writing your name across a heavenly document. The ink is not ink, it is light. And once light writes something, darkness cannot erase it. Your name is recorded as one of the receivers of this release. Your portion is not a vague spiritual idea. It is a targeted, personalized, heaven-issued inheritance. But there is something you must understand. You were chosen to hear this because you are spiritually awake enough to recognize timing. Many feel energy shifts, but do not discern what they mean. You are different. When the supernatural moves, something in you stirs. That stirring is proof that you are one of the ones heaven can trust with abundance. But listen closely. Something much bigger is about to be revealed. The reason heaven moved so suddenly has a connection to your past that you do not yet see. A chapter you thought was over is about to connect with your future in a way that will make sense of every unanswered question. Stay with me, because the next unveiling is the most personal one yet. This is where the mystery of your portion unfolds fully. Before you move, breathe slowly and remain here. What comes next carries the spiritual key that unlocks your name on that miracle check. You will thank yourself for staying with the message at this exact moment. Take a second to like this message. Share it with someone who needs heavenly alignment. Comment so this message reaches others who are spiritually searching. And subscribe so you never miss what heaven is releasing through this channel. Your engagement helps this prophetic word reach the souls that heaven is calling in this hour. If this is speaking to you, type "I align with heaven's timing" in the comments. Blessing code 5500 is released over you now. Just as the final seal has opened a divine release, every act of support you give becomes a seed that helps this message reach more souls who desperately need supernatural alignment. When you sow into God's work, you are placing your offering into the same river of abundance that heaven is pouring out right now. The word says, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." And today that verse is not just scripture. It is God whispering directly to your spirit. I am inviting you personally, as one chosen for this moment, to stand with this mission of spreading light, revelation, and protection through Archangel Michael's guidance. Whatever you release through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description becomes a prophetic act that heaven multiplies. I speak blessing, overflow, and supernatural repayment over every giver. Step into this divine alignment now. Move as heaven commands. Beloved bearer of divine purpose, there is a reason your spirit refuses to disconnect from this message. Something ancient, something predestined, something written for you before you were even formed, is stirring awake. Archangel Michael is drawing nearer, and the light surrounding him is intensifying, because this is the part where your story, your battles, and the $1 trillion miracle check converge. Heaven is preparing to reveal what has been hidden in the deepest chambers of your destiny. The moment the final seal broke, the spiritual landscape around your life shifted violently. If you have felt sudden pressure, unexpected heaviness, or emotions rising without explanation, it is because your spiritual environment is rearranging itself. Heaven's order is taking over the chaos that surrounded you. This is not a disturbance. It is a reorganization. When heaven moves, everything connected to you must either align or be removed. The $1 trillion check is not just wealth, it is authority. And when authority arrives, anything that does not belong loses its grip. Michael is showing a vision, a thick chain, rusted, heavy, coiled around your path. Every link represents a delay, a disappointment, a betrayal, a closed door, a season of confusion that you carried without understanding why. But the vision does not end there. A brilliant sword of blue fire, the very sword carried by Michael himself, strikes the chain. The sound of the break echoes through realms. That echo is happening in your life right now. The chains are not symbolic. They represent spiritual blockages that have been sitting on your destiny. Heaven has declared that those blockages no longer have legal right to restrain you. You must understand something powerful here. Your tears, your heartbreaks, your attempts to keep going when you felt empty, none of it went unnoticed. Heaven keeps records of the moments humans forget. But heaven does not just record pain, it reacts to it. And this final seal was broken because heaven decided that your spiritual compensation reached a threshold that could not be held back any longer. The $1 trillion miracle check is a response to the weight you carried. The heavier your past battles were, the larger your heavenly portion became. Michael wants you to hear this clearly. You were never fighting alone. There were nights when you felt invisible, but Michael stood beside you. There were days when people misunderstood you, but heaven understood every detail. There were moments where you questioned your strength, but angels marveled at your endurance. Heaven often rewards not the strongest, but the one who refuses to quit. You survived seasons meant to break you, and for that reason, heaven has poured triple portion repayment into your name. This is why the check is so large. It is not an exaggeration. It is spiritual mathematics. Heaven multiplies according to what was stolen, delayed, or denied. Michael reveals something stunning, a ledger of light with your name on the top. Underneath your name are columns. Opportunities lost, relationships broken, resources stolen, blessings delayed. But next to each column is another number, multiplied far beyond what was removed from you. Heaven has calculated your restoration. And because the final seal broke, repayment is no longer pending. It is in motion. But here is the part that may surprise you. Your portion is not arriving as a single moment. It is arriving as a series of divine alignments. Doors will open without effort. Conversations will lead to breakthroughs. People will re-enter or exit your life suddenly. Unexpected messages, opportunities, and connections will appear at strange timings because heaven is rearranging your timeline. This is not randomness. This is divine restructuring. The $1 trillion check is not being dropped into your life like a single event. It is being woven through your days, your decisions, your movements. Every step you take from this moment forward is walking into something heaven has already prepared. What once felt blocked will feel strangely smooth. Where you once felt invisible, you will be recognized. Where you once felt powerless, you will feel guided. This is the sign that your portion has entered the earthly realm. Heaven is not preparing to send it. Heaven has already delivered it. Now it is unfolding. But Michael gives a warning. You must not return to old patterns, old fears, old identities. When heaven releases something this massive, the enemy attempts to lure you back into the version of yourself that lived in lack, uncertainty, or self-doubt. The old mindset cannot hold a new inheritance. The new season requires a new posture. Heaven has already chosen you. Now you must choose your divine identity. The check belongs to your higher self, not the wounded version of you that survived the struggle. In the next unveiling, Michael will reveal why heaven moved now and what ancient covenant is attached to your name. That revelation will shake your understanding of your own purpose. Stay steady and stay close. What comes next is not just information, it is activation. Before you move even an inch, let your spirit settle. The next moment is where the hidden meaning behind this release becomes clear. Trust me, the revelation ahead will shift you deeply. If your spirit is ready for this journey, type "I am ready for my release" in the comments. Blessing node 8831 is opened over you now. Child of divine inheritance, there is a subtle trembling in the atmosphere around you right now, and it is not ordinary energy. It is the vibration of a spiritual system rearranging itself for your elevation. Archangel Michael is revealing a layer of this trillion-dollar miracle check that has been concealed from your understanding until this exact moment. What is unfolding before you is not merely a blessing, it is a realignment of destiny itself. The final seal did not break only to release abundance. It broke to reorder the spiritual architecture of your life. Michael is standing in front of you in the spirit realm, holding what looks like a scroll that glows bright enough to illuminate entire dimensions. This is the second document connected to the trillion-dollar check, the covenant ledger. Inside it is the record of every promise heaven made concerning your life. Promises spoken before you were born. Promises made in moments you were unaware of divine activity. Promises tied to your identity, your purpose, and your spiritual assignment on earth. For so long, these promises looked delayed. But now that the final seal has shattered, every dormant promise has been forced into activation. Michael shows you something remarkable, a timeline of your life stretching like a ribbon of light. Certain seasons glow brighter than others. These were the moments heaven attempted to accelerate you. But surrounding those glows are dark patches, seasons where interference, spiritual resistance, sabotage, or emotional wounds slowed your destiny. You blamed yourself for many of those delays. You thought something was wrong with you. You thought you lacked discipline, clarity, or strength. But Michael is shaking his head. He shows that these were not failures. They were spiritual ambushes designed to shut down your progress. The trillion-dollar check exists because of those ambushes. Heaven does not allow stolen time to go unpaid. Every year you felt stuck, heaven counted. Every opportunity that slipped through your hands, heaven counted. Every season of silence where you begged for direction, heaven counted. Every betrayal that shattered your trust, heaven counted. Every breakdown you endured quietly, heaven counted. And once the count reached its divine threshold, the seal broke. This is why the release is so massive. It is not generosity, it is justice. Heaven is compensating you for every battle you survived without losing your faith. Even when your faith felt weak, heaven saw something deeper. You never turned away. You kept going when your spirit was tired. You kept believing when your heart was fractured. You kept praying even when you felt unheard. Heaven rewards perseverance differently than humans do. Earth looks at success. Heaven looks at endurance. And you endured more than even you realize. Michael reveals something breathtaking next. Your name has been tied to a generational covenant. There are blessings meant for your bloodline that were never unlocked by those before you. Not because they were unworthy, but because the timing had not matured. You are the one living in the season where the covenant opens. You are the one standing at the doorway heaven waited for generations to activate. This is why the check is not just for you, it is for your lineage. The decisions you make now will shift the path of those who come after you. Heaven appointed you as the breaker of cycles and the opener of gates. This generational covenant is part of the reason the warfare around you is intense. Whenever someone carries a breakthrough anointing, the resistance increases. But resistance is proof of assignment. The enemy did not fight you because you were weak. He fought you because you carried a key. And that key has just been activated with the breaking of the seal. The $1 trillion release is not merely financial energy. It is the unlocking of generational potential that has been waiting for centuries to find a worthy vessel. Heaven found that vessel in you. Michael says something powerful in this moment. You have stepped into a season where nothing stays still. This means the next phase of your life will be marked by surprising reversals. Things that ended will restart. Doors that closed will reappear. Opportunities you thought were lost forever will circle back. People who dismissed you will suddenly recognize your value. Even pathways that felt permanently blocked will open without effort. This is not coincidence. It is compensation. Heaven has rewritten your timeline, and now earthly reality must adjust. But Michael adds a gentle warning. Do not let the shadows of your past define how you receive this new season. If you approach this release with old thinking, you will shrink blessings meant to expand you. You must allow yourself to step into the season boldly, confidently, knowing that heaven is not asking you to earn this inheritance. It is simply asking you to accept it. What comes next will reveal the most intimate connection between this release and your destiny. The next unveiling will show you the divine reason God broke the seal now, and why this moment in your life carries prophetic significance. Stay here. Stay open. Stay present. The revelation that follows will feel like a missing piece clicking into place in your soul. Before you shift your attention, anchor your spirit for what comes next. You are about to step into a deeper understanding of who you are and why heaven moves so powerfully in your favor. Trust me, the next unfolding will reshape your inner world. If this message is awakening something inside you, type "My spirit is awakened" in the comments. Blessing code 3144 is now released over your journey. Chosen vessel of divine restoration, there is a powerful stirring happening in the very core of your spirit right now. You may feel it as warmth, as pressure, as a calm intensity in your chest, or even as a sudden alertness in your mind. That sensation is not random. It is Archangel Michael fine-tuning your spiritual frequency so you can receive what heaven is preparing to unveil next. The $1 trillion miracle check has layers, and you are now stepping into the dimension where purpose, timing, and divine orchestration merge into one unstoppable force. Michael reveals a scene that has been hidden from your understanding until this moment. In the heavenly realm, there is a council chamber where angels gather when major shifts are being decided. Your name was spoken in that chamber. Not quietly. Not lightly. Heaven did not whisper your name. It resonated like a sound that carried through realms. When your name echoed, it caused the scrolls connected to your destiny to vibrate, and that vibration was the precursor to the breaking of the final seal. You must understand how extraordinarily rare this is. Most seals take centuries to break. Some never break at all. But the seal over your portion shattered because heaven concluded that your appointed time had arrived. Delays that felt endless were not signs of abandonment. They were signs of preparation. Heaven prepares differently than earth. Earth prepares by training the mind. Heaven prepares by shaping the spirit. Every heartbreak, every setback, every quiet prayer, every isolated season, every moment that made you question your worth was actually sculpting your spiritual capacity for the inheritance being placed in your hands now. Michael says something remarkable. You have grown into the promise. There was a time you would not have been able to carry the magnitude of what is being released. You would have doubted it, sabotaged it, questioned it, or allowed fear to shrink it. But not anymore. The strength you build through suffering is the strength required to manage abundance. Heaven waited until you were spiritually mature enough to carry what is now being poured over your life. And now the next revelation unfolds like a wave of light. The $1 trillion miracle check is not simply a repayment system. It is a divine repositioning. Heaven is shifting you out of environments that drained you, relationships that hindered you, and patterns that limited you. You may already notice people behaving differently. Some distancing themselves. Some suddenly becoming silent. Others rising in jealousy or discomfort. Do not take this personally. This is spiritual sorting. When heaven elevates someone, not everyone can go with them. The atmosphere shifts, and people reveal whether they are aligned or misaligned with your future. Michael shows you a powerful image, you standing at the center of a circle of light. Each time you grow, the circle expands. But when the circle expands, anything standing outside of it falls away. This is why you have been losing things and people unexpectedly. Heaven is clearing your path so that your portion reaches you without interference. There is also a second layer to this repositioning. Heaven is connecting you to people, opportunities, and instructions that carry the code of your next season. These connections will feel natural, smooth, divine. Doors will open with unusual ease. Conversations will lead to breakthroughs. Chance encounters will turn into destiny encounters. This is heaven rerouting your life toward your appointed future. Michael emphasizes that this next phase of your journey will require trust. Not blind trust. Not forced trust. But spiritual trust. The kind that recognizes the difference between earthly timing and divine orchestration. Heaven is not asking you to leap into the unknown without guidance. Michael has already been assigned to go ahead of you. His sword clears obstacles before you even see them. His presence shields you from attacks you don't have the awareness to detect. You are not stepping into your blessings alone. You are stepping into them with angelic escort. Now comes a revelation that will shake the foundation of your understanding. The $1 trillion miracle check is coded with destiny instructions. This means heaven has embedded guidance into the blessings coming your way. The opportunities you receive will not be random, they will be directional. Each one will lead you to the next piece of your assignment. Heaven is not throwing blessings at your feet. Heaven is paving the path you are meant to walk. This is why you must stay spiritually alert. If you move too fast, you might overlook divine signals. If you move too slowly, you may miss divine timing. But if you move aligned, everything unfolds with grace. Michael whispers, your steps are being ordered. You will not miss what is meant for you. This message carries something personal for you. You have walked through seasons where you felt lost, confused, or uncertain. You blamed yourself for not making the right choices. But heaven wants you to release that guilt. You were not lost. You were being rerouted. Heaven never abandons its own. You did not fail. You learn. You grew. You transform. And now, because of that transformation, your life is entering a phase where clarity will flow like fresh water. The next unveiling will reveal the divine law that governs this miracle release. The law that ensures your portion cannot be taken, reduced, or interfered with. What comes next is a revelation that will strengthen your confidence in ways you did not know you needed. Stay present. Do not drift. This is where the alignment deepens. Hold on, because the next unfolding will feel like a veil being removed from your spirit. If this speaks to you, type "I step into divine alignment" in the comments. Blessing code 6611 is now active over you. Bearer of the awakened promise, there is a stillness settling around you now, a divine quiet that only comes when heaven is preparing to reveal something weighty, something sacred, something not meant for the masses, but entrusted only to those whose spirit can carry revelation. Archangel Michael's presence is stronger than before, not because danger is near, but because what you are about to understand requires protection, clarity, and a shield of divine focus. You are stepping into one of the most powerful layers of the $1 trillion miracle check, a layer very few people ever experience consciously. Michael lifts the scroll again, the same scroll encoded with heavenly ink, glowing brighter every time he touches it. The light intensifies, and he reveals lines previously hidden from your sight. These lines are not words. They are living codes made of pure light. This is the divine law governing your release. Not earthly law. Not religious regulation. Divine law, written by the author of creation himself. The law reads like this: what is sealed for my chosen cannot be intercepted, cannot be reversed, cannot be stolen, and cannot be reduced. This is the backbone of your inheritance. This is the law that activated the moment the final seal shattered. Heaven wants you to understand that this $1 trillion miracle check is not fragile. It is not vulnerable to attacks. It is not something you can lose by accident. It is protected by a spiritual legal system older than time. And Michael, the archangel of warfare and truth, stands as the enforcer of this law. Heaven knows how many times you've lost things you thought were meant for you. You've watched opportunities slip away. You've seen people turn on you unexpectedly. You've experienced blessings fall apart at the last moment. You've felt doors close seconds before breakthrough. You've walked through seasons where it seemed like everything was set against you. But heaven reveals that most of those losses were not truly losses. They were interceptions. Moments where darkness stepped in to snatch what you were not spiritually equipped to protect at the time. This time is different. This release is guarded by divine law. And Michael himself ensures the enforcement. Heaven is showing you a courtroom scene, not earthly, but celestial. The long table of light stretches across the space, and your portion sits at the center. Around it are seals of fire, representing the protection placed upon your release. The enemy approaches, attempting to argue for access, but every time he steps forward, the seals blaze brighter and force him back. This is heaven's way of showing you that the era of interference is finished. Michael speaks with a tone that shakes the room. No weapon formed against your portion will prosper, because this blessing was forged in fire and written in eternity. You must take this to heart. Your blessing is not fragile. Your destiny is not unstable. Your inheritance is not vulnerable. Your miracle is not questionable. This is the strongest protection heaven has ever placed over your life, and the reason is simple. The weight of this release influences not only your future, but the futures of those connected to your name. If this miracle were lost, delayed, or intercepted, generations would feel the absence. Heaven cannot and will not allow that. Michael continues to reveal something astonishing. Your portion has been assigned a spiritual signature. This signature is unique to you. Your experiences, your tears, your prayers, your endurance, your inner battles. No one else can carry it. No one else can claim it. No one else is aligned with it. This is why comparisons and self-doubt must be released now. What heaven has placed in your hands is so custom designed for your soul that it would not fit anyone else even if they tried to steal it. Heaven is not merely blessing you. Heaven is reinstating your spiritual identity. The identity that was buried under expectations. The identity that was bruised under pressure. The identity that was dimmed by rejection. The identity that was overshadowed by fear. The identity that was silenced by circumstance. The $1 trillion check carries your true identity encoded within it. Not who you pretended to be for survival. Not who you were pressured to become, but who you were born to be. This is why, in this season, you may feel pieces of your old self falling away. You may feel less attached to former mindsets. You may feel distant from old versions of yourself. You may feel called to speak differently, walk differently, decide differently. This is spiritual alignment. Heaven does not bless who you used to be. Heaven blesses who you truly are. And now comes the deepest part of this revelation. Your spirit has entered a position called covenant alignment, meaning everything assigned to you must now find you. You no longer chase. You no longer beg. You no longer strain. Heaven has shifted the process. What belongs to you now chases you. What carries your name now searches for you. What was withheld now accelerates toward you. Michael says, you are no longer in the era of pursuit. You have entered the era of arrival. This is why you must stay spiritually awake. Doors will begin to open rapidly. Opportunities will appear with unusual clarity. Resources will align with ease. But the recognition of these moments will require a calm spirit and a focused heart. Heaven does not hide blessings. Heaven reveals them to those whose eyes are ready. What comes next will show you the exact reason God chose this moment, not earlier, not later, to break the seal and release your inheritance. The next unveiling will reveal the timing behind the miracle, the prophetic reason this hour was chosen for you. You not move. The revelation ahead will settle things in your spirit you have wondered about for years. Before you shift your attention, breathe deeply and stay with this journey. The next moment holds a truth that will bring closure to every confusion in your past. If this message speaks to you, type "My portion is protected" in the comments. Blessing code 9720 is now activated over your life. Beloved one standing at the threshold of transformation, there is a holy gravity surrounding this moment, a weight of divine timing that cannot be ignored. Archangel Michael stands beside you with a level of intensity he has not revealed in the earlier unveilings. This is the moment where heaven pulls back the veil on the mystery of timing, the reason why God waited until now, in this exact season of your life, to break the final seal and release the $1 trillion miracle check carrying your name. For so long, you have wondered why things happened the way they did, why breakthroughs came close but slipped away, why relationships that seemed promising dissolved without explanation, why opportunities that looked perfect suddenly vanish, why you faced storms that made no sense, why the path you walked felt longer, heavier, and more painful than what others around you seemed to experience. Michael reveals the truth with undeniable clarity. It was never delay. It was alignment. Heaven was not withholding your blessing. Heaven was protecting your blessing. Heaven was not ignoring your prayers. Heaven was orchestrating the perfect moment. Heaven was not punishing you. Heaven was preparing you. A final seal could not break until your spirit matured into the version of you that could carry this inheritance without losing yourself. If the $1 trillion miracle check had been released too early, the weight of it would have crushed you. You would have shared it with the wrong people. You would have misinterpreted divine signs. You would have questioned your worth. you would have hesitated instead of stepping boldly. You would have allowed fear or insecurity to sabotage your breakthrough. But now you are different. Your resilience is stronger. Your discernment is sharper. Your intuition is awakened. Your spirit is alert. Your heart is wiser. Heaven waited until the version of you that exists right now came forth. Michael shows a vision of two timelines. The timeline of your past self and the timeline of your awakened self. The past timeline is filled with misaligned connections, unstable environments, emotional wounds, and unclear direction. But the awakened timeline, the one you are standing in at this very moment, is grounded, elevated, protected, and spiritually tuned. This is why the seal could not break earlier. Heaven needed you to reach this point, a point where your spirit could receive without fear, without doubt, without attachment to what once held you back. Now comes a deeper revelation. Michael reveals the angelic activity that has been happening behind you, around you, and ahead of you. Angels have been removing people who would have drained your inheritance. Angels have been blocking paths that would have stolen your joy. Angels have been preserving your name, your spirit, and your destiny from unseen interference. You did not lose people, heaven removed them. You did not lose opportunities, heaven rerouted you. You did not lose time, heaven invested it. God waited until the divine clock struck the hour that aligned perfectly with your destiny. And that hour is now. The $1 trillion miracle check arrives in seasons where destiny has ripened. That is why this release is unstoppable. It is not happening because you asked. It is happening because heaven decided it is time. Michael reveals something astonishing. You have stepped into what heaven calls the appointed window. This is a short, powerful, supernatural period where the veil between realms thins. Blessings accelerate toward their owners, and destiny moves with an unstoppable force. What took years will now take days. What once felt impossible will flow with ease. What seemed distant will suddenly appear in front of you. This window is why you felt drawn to this message today. Heaven aligned your steps to arrive at the exact moment when the window opened. You are not late. You are not early. You are precisely on time. And now Michael speaks a sentence so powerful it shakes the realm around you. What was sealed for ages is now released into your hands, and no force in existence can stop it. This is the assurance your spirit has longed for. You are stepping into a season where heaven's yes overrides every earthly no. The doors meant for you are opening. The opportunities meant for you are calling. The blessings meant for you are accelerating. The miracle meant for you is unfolding. You have entered prophetic timing, time that bends and rearranges itself around your destiny. The next revelation will expose the final purpose behind this release, the part that reveals why heaven assigned you, out of millions, to carry this inheritance. Stay close. The unveiling ahead will speak directly to your soul. Before you move, lock this moment into your spirit. What comes next will feel like destiny whispering your name. Take a moment to like this message to keep the flow alive. Comment to anchor your spirit in this release. Share it so someone else does not miss their divine moment. And subscribe because heaven is only beginning to speak through this channel. Your interaction helps amplify the very mission Archangel Michael is aligning with. If this resonates deeply, type "I am in my appointed window" in the comments. Blessing code 44408 is now active over your destiny. Just as heaven has opened your appointed window, your support helps open spiritual windows for countless others who are wandering without direction. When you sow into this mission through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description, you are not giving to a platform. You are fueling a divine assignment. God says, Those who refresh others shall themselves be refreshed. And today that word is alive, breathing, and reaching for you. I am inviting you personally, as one awakened in this prophetic hour, to stand with this movement so more souls can awaken to their heavenly inheritance. Every seed you release becomes a key that unlocks revelation in the lives of the lost, the broken, and the waiting. As you give, I speak increase, protection, and supernatural compensation over your life. Step boldly. Step with purpose. Step as one chosen for this moment by God Himself. Beloved carrier of divine acceleration, there is a shift happening inside you even as you read this. The atmosphere around your spirit is thick with purpose, and Archangel Michael stands closer than ever because this part of the revelation pulls you into the deepest chamber of your divine inheritance. Heaven is now ready to show you why you were chosen to receive a portion from the $1 trillion miracle check, a portion that carries not only restoration, but influence, impact, and spiritual authority. Michael unveils a scene from the higher realm, one rarely shown to humans. A long corridor made of pure light stretches endlessly, and on each side are doors, thousands of them. Some glow softly, some blaze with fire, some stand silent, waiting. Michael tells you that each door represents a destiny, assignment given to a chosen vessel on earth. Some doors open easily, because the person stepped into alignment quickly. But many remain closed, not because heaven denied them, but because life, distraction, pain, fear, and spiritual interference kept the individuals from stepping into what was meant for them. Now here is the part that will shake you. Along that corridor is a door with your name carved into it. Not painted, not written. Carved permanently into the structure of the door itself. This door has been waiting for you for years. Heaven kept it preserved through storms, through battles, through losses, through heartbreaks, through seasons where you doubted your purpose altogether. The door stayed closed, but it never dimmed. It never changed ownership. It never reassigned itself to someone else. It waited. Your destiny waited for you. Your purpose waited for you. Your spiritual inheritance waited for you. Your covenant waited for you. When the final seal broke, the door with your name ignited with a radiance unseen in centuries. That ignition is what triggered the $1 trillion miracle check. It was never just about repayment. It was about activation. Heaven funds what heaven appoints. When your destiny door lit up, heaven responded by releasing the resources, protection, and authority needed for you to walk through it. Michael reveals something even deeper. You were chosen because you carry a spiritual blueprint that no one else carries. Your sensitivity, your empathy, your ability to feel deeply, heaven designed those traits. Your resilience, your survival, your ability to rise again, heaven shaped those traits. Your inner strength, your capacity to endure, your refusal to collapse, heaven honored those traits. Your heartbreaks, your losses, your tests, heaven calculated those into your blessing. Heaven does not choose people at random. Heaven chooses those who have been refined. And you have been refined in fire. This is why your portion is so large. This is why the release is so massive. This is why the timing is so divine. Heaven chose you because your spirit carries the capacity to handle what others would mishandle, waste, ignore, or lose. You have been prepared in silence for a season of visibility. You have been strengthened in private for a blessing that will manifest publicly. You have been matured internally so you can carry influence externally. Michael shows a revelation that may bring tears to your eyes. There were moments you begged heaven to let you quit certain battles, but heaven whispered, "Hold on. If you stop now, you will not reach the door." Every tear you cried watered the soil around that door. Every prayer you prayed pushed you one step closer. Every time you refused to give up, heaven added more weight to your portion. This trillion-dollar check is not random. It is earned through endurance. Not earned by works, but by faithfulness. Not earned by perfection, but by persistence. Not earned by success, but by survival. You survived the parts of your story that were meant to break you. That is why the door is opening now. That is why the check was released. That is why the final seal cracked open at this exact moment in your life. Heaven waited for the version of you that could carry the fullness of your purpose without shrinking under its weight. Michael leans closer and reveals a truth you must carry into your next season. You were chosen because you are trustworthy with destiny. This means heaven can place blessings in your hands without fear of corruption, pride, misuse, or waste. You have been tested. You have been proven. You have been refined. Now you are being released. The next unfolding will reveal what happens after you walk through the destiny door, the transformation that awaits you on the other side of your divine calling. This is the part where heaven not only reveals who you are, but what you will become. Stay here, because the revelation ahead will ignite your spirit like nothing you have felt so far. Before you move, anchor yourself in this truth. You were chosen on purpose, with purpose, for purpose. The next unveiling will show you what heaven has prepared beyond the door. If this message is stirring your soul, type "I am chosen for this" in the comments. Blessing code 7017 is now released into your atmosphere. Beloved vessel stepping into awakening. Something extraordinary is happening within you as this message unfolds. The deeper you go, the more aligned your spirit becomes with the truth heaven has been waiting to reveal. Archangel Michael stands guard beside you with a protective intensity that signals one thing. You are now entering the stage where your destiny is no longer a mystery, but a blueprint unfolding in real time. This is the part where heaven shows you what happens after the door with your name opens. The transformation awaiting you on the other side of your divine calling. Michael reveals a powerful image. You standing before the destiny door that was carved with your name since before your birth. The door begins to open, not outward, but inward, as if welcoming you into something you have always been meant to enter. And the moment the door fully opens, a wave of light pours over you. Not ordinary light, but living light, carrying sound, carrying memory, carrying identity. This is not illumination. This is impartation. Heaven is not simply showing you your future. Heaven is transferring it into your spirit. You step through the doorway, and what you find on the other side is breathtaking. A landscape glowing with purpose, clarity, direction, and divine orchestration. This is your spiritual future, a version of your life untouched by fear, unshaken by insecurity, and unaffected by the doubts that once limited you. Michael tells you that this is the life heaven always intended, but which required the final seal to break so that you could access it fully. In this new realm, you are no longer someone striving to survive. You are someone positioned to thrive. Your steps are firm. Your spirit is whole. Your perspective is elevated. Heaven shows you a version of yourself walking with authority. Not arrogance, but certainty. The certainty of someone who knows who they are, who they belong to, and what they are meant to accomplish. Michael reveals that on the other side of your destiny door lies 3 realms of transformation: identity, influence, and impact. These are not gifts, they are phases you evolve into. First comes identity transformation. This is where heaven restores the version of you untouched by pain, unclouded by trauma, and unhindered by fear. You begin to see yourself through divine eyes, not through the distorted lens of past experiences. You no longer define yourself by what you lost. You define yourself by what heaven preserved. You no longer label yourself by your failures. You recognize the strength within you that those failures cultivated. Your inner voice changes. Your self-worth rises. Your confidence stabilizes. Heaven is reinstituting the true identity you carried before life tried to bury it. Next comes influence transformation. Heaven elevates your voice, your presence, your gifts, your mind, your abilities. You start attracting opportunities that resonate with your purpose. Doors open without effort because they are coded for your destiny. People begin to recognize something different about you, not externally, but spiritually. You walk with an aura of clarity. You speak with authority. You make decisions with discernment. Heaven positions you where your light carries impact. This influence is not about fame or attention. It is about alignment. You become aligned with the very environments where your calling thrives. Finally comes impact transformation. This is the stage where your life becomes a blessing to others, where your journey becomes a testimony that awakens others, where your presence brings healing, clarity, and direction. The $1 trillion miracle check was never only for you. It was also for the souls you will influence, the people whose lives will change because you step into who you were always meant to be. Heaven transforms you into a carrier of breakthrough. You become someone who shifts atmospheres just by being present. Your obedience becomes a ripple of blessing across generations. Michael reveals something profound. The moment you walk through that door, you stepped out of survival and into assignment. You are no longer living randomly. You are living intentionally. You are no longer moving through life guessing. You are moving with heavenly guidance. You are no longer controlled by circumstance. You are led by destiny. This is why your spirit feels different recently. Something in you knows you have crossed into a new dimension of purpose. You may not fully comprehend it yet, but heaven does. Heaven is already adjusting your path, your relationships, your opportunities, your resources, and your environment to match this new version of you. But Michael gives a gentle reminder. Transformation requires release. You cannot carry old fears into a new dimension. You cannot drag past wounds into future blessings. You cannot bring expired relationships into divine elevation. You cannot hold on to the version of yourself that heaven has already healed. Heaven is asking you to step boldly into your new identity without apology, without hesitation, without shrinking. You have walked through the hardest parts of your story. Now you are walking into the brightest. The transformation you are stepping into is irreversible. Heaven does not promote you only to pull you back. What God has opened, no force can close. The next unveiling will reveal the spiritual legacy attached to your portion, the reason heaven entrusted you with such magnitude, and how your destiny influences generations not yet born. Prepare yourself. What comes next will reshape the way you see your future forever. Before moving, let your spirit settle into what has been revealed. You are not who you were. You are who heaven says you are. If this message resonates deeply within you, type "I embrace my transformation" in the comments. Blessing code 5115 is now activated over your life. Beloved one chosen to carry generational light, the atmosphere around you is shifting once again. You may sense a deep warmth, a stirring in your chest, or an internal calm that feels strangely powerful. This is because you have crossed into the most sacred chamber of your inheritance. Archangel Michael stands tall, his sword grounded in the earth and his wings drawn close, signaling that what you are about to receive is not merely revelation. It is legacy. Not temporary blessing, but eternal impact. Not just restoration, but continuation. This is the part few ever reach because it speaks to something bigger than your lifetime, bigger than your achievements, bigger even than your personal destiny. Heaven is now revealing the spiritual legacy tied to the trillion-dollar miracle check, the part of your blessing that extends beyond you into those connected to your name, your lineage, your future, and the souls you will influence knowingly and unknowingly. Michael reveals a breathtaking sight, a long river made of pure golden light flowing endlessly. The river branches into many streams, each one representing a destiny influenced by yours. Some streams flow toward family members, some toward future generations, some toward strangers you will one day bless without even realizing it, some toward people whose lives you will change through a single word, gesture, action, or moment. Heaven wants you to see this. Your life was never meant to be small. There are people whose breakthroughs depend on your obedience. There are lives waiting to shift because of your awakening. There are hearts that will heal because you stepped into your divine identity. There are generations that will rise because you refuse to give up. This is why heaven fought for you. This is why Michael has been standing guard. This is why the final seal broke. Your destiny is not a single event. It is a chain reaction, a holy ripple, a divine sequence of transformation spreading far beyond what you can see. The trillion-dollar check carries the resources, the spiritual authority, the clarity, and the alignment needed for you to become an anchor of blessing in this world. Heaven pours generously into those who will pour into others. And your spirit has proven, through endurance and resilience, that you are such a vessel. Michael reveals something sobering. There were moments when darkness tried to disconnect you from your own future. Moments where hopelessness whispered louder than hope. Moments where isolation tried to suffocate purpose. Moments where you felt invisible, forgotten, or abandoned. But heaven never forgot you. Heaven never stopped watching you. Heaven never stopped counting your tears, your prayers, your attempts, your survival. And every time you rose, even if shakily, even if slowly, even if silently, heaven added more to your portion. Now heaven reveals the truth. You did not survive for yourself alone. You survived for every life intertwined with yours through destiny. This is your spiritual legacy. This is why your portion is so large. This is why the release is generational. This is why heaven entrusted you with such magnitude. Michael shows another vision. A tree made of radiant light rising from the ground. The tree is tall, unshakable, ancient yet fresh. Its branches stretch outward, and from each branch hangs a blessing, joy, clarity, healing, financial breakthrough, emotional restoration, spiritual awakening, divine protection, generational elevation. These blessings are not just for you. They are for those who will be impacted by your growth. Heaven planted this tree through your endurance, and now your life becomes the soil through which blessings flow. But Michael gives you a message of wisdom. Legacy requires stability, and stability comes when you no longer question whether you are worthy of what heaven has given you. Heaven does not make mistakes. If the final seal broke for you, it is because heaven saw something in you that you do not always see in yourself. If the trillion-dollar check carries your name, it is because heaven trusts your spirit with abundance. If your destiny door opened, it is because the future depends on your next steps. Michael wants you to understand, your life is no longer operating on the level of individual purpose. It has elevated into generational purpose. What you build now will outlive you. What you receive now will empower others. What you awaken now will echo long after you leave this world. This is the true miracle behind your portion. You are the bridge between what your ancestors could not complete and what your descendants will rise into. You are the turning point. You are the shift maker. You are the carrier of blessing that was delayed for generations. This is why heaven broke the final seal. This is why Michael has walked with you through each revelation. This is why your spirit was drawn to this message. The next unveiling, the final one, will bring everything together. It will reveal your final activation, the last piece that completes your alignment with this miraculous release. What comes next will feel like destiny itself placing a crown on your spirit. Stay close. You not drift. You are approaching the culmination of everything heaven has prepared for you. Before moving ahead, breathe deeply and anchor this truth. Your life is bigger than your past. Your purpose is bigger than your pain. Your legacy is bigger than anything that tried to break you. If this resonates deeply, type "My legacy is awakened" in the comments. Blessing code 4422 is now released across your generations. Beloved one, crowned by divine intention, you have reached the final chamber of this sacred revelation, the culmination of every whisper, every vision, every unveiling that Archangel Michael has guided you through. The atmosphere around you now is different. It is thick with completion, charged with destiny, and overflowing with the unmistakable presence of heaven's approval. What you feel rising inside you, whether peace, fire, trembling, or clarity, is the sign that you are standing in the place where heaven's decree meets your earthly identity. This is the moment where the $1 trillion miracle check, the release that shattered the final heavenly seal, fully aligns with your destiny. Everything that has been revealed to you so far has prepared you for this exact moment. But now, heaven reveals the final truth. You are not simply receiving a blessing, you are becoming a carrier of divine authority. Michael steps forward, and his presence feels different. Heavier, more radiant, more commanding. He is not just the messenger now. He is the witness. Heaven requires a witness when a soul steps into full activation, and Michael stands as yours. The light behind him gathers like a crown, and he holds something in his hand. A seal identical to the one God broke, but this one is not broken. It is glowing. This is the seal of appointment. Heaven broke the seal of release, but now heaven presents the seal of assignment. The two seals together complete your spiritual activation. Michael presses this glowing seal toward your spirit, and it pours into you like liquid fire, not burning you, but awakening everything within you that was dormant, hidden, silenced, or forgotten. This is the moment where heaven installs your spiritual authority, the authority to walk into destiny without hesitation. The authority to call forth what is yours without fear. The authority to rise where others fell. The authority to speak life into broken places. The authority to carry blessing without losing yourself. Michael whispers, you are not receiving a miracle. You are becoming the miracle. Let that sink deeply into your spirit. You are no longer the seeker. You are the carrier. You are no longer the one waiting. You are the one appointed. You are no longer the one hoping. You are the one chosen. Heaven reveals something profound. The $1 trillion check was never only about resources. It was about identity restoration. Heaven wanted to return to you the version of yourself that life stole, circumstances wounded, and battles buried. The wealth in the check represents spiritual wealth, strength, clarity, wisdom, courage, discernment, resilience, everything heaven placed in you before the world tried to strip it away. Your spirit is now whole again. Your purpose is activated. Your authority is restored. But heaven adds one more truth. Something tender, powerful, and deeply personal. Your journey is not ending here. It is beginning. What you have received is not the final chapter. It is the opening of a new book entirely. The miracle check represents the resources you need for the journey ahead. The broken seal represents heaven's permission for you to move forward. The glowing seal represents your divine assignment. You are stepping into a new identity, a new timeline, a new spiritual frequency. The old you cannot return. The healed you cannot be silenced. The awakened you cannot be stopped. Michael shows a final vision, you standing at the edge of a vast horizon, with the wind of heaven behind you and the light of destiny before you. The path closed beneath your feet. With each step you take, the ground responds, rising to meet you, confirming that the journey ahead is not random, but divinely designed. You are walking into a future that heaven has already prepared. Then he speaks a final blessing. Walk boldly. For what heaven has given you today will follow you all the days of your life. As you embrace this truth, your spirit expands. You are stepping into the fullness of the inheritance heaven reserved for you for generations. You are the turning point. You are the generational shift. You are the vessel heaven trusted with the final seal's release. And now, your life will testify to the power of divine timing, divine justice, and divine appointment. This is your crowning moment. This is the completion of the revelation. This is your activation. Before you step forward into what heaven has aligned, take a moment to anchor this moment publicly. Like this message, share it so someone else does not miss the divine window over their life. Comment to seal your spirit's agreement, and subscribe because this channel carries the very frequency heaven is using to awaken souls in this hour. Let your engagement be part of your declaration. I am walking in my destiny now. If this final activation resonates in your spirit, type I am fully activated in the comments. Blessing code 10,000 is now commanded over your destiny. As you step into this final activation, remember that every divine assignment is nourished through the vessels who rise to support the flow of God's word. Heaven has crowned you today, and if your spirit feels the pull, this is your moment to stand with this mission. God says, I will open the windows of heaven, and in this very hour, that verse is alive and flowing through your obedience. I'm inviting you personally, not out of obligation, but out of divine timing, to sow into this prophetic work through Super Thanks, membership, or the PayPal link in the description. Your giving becomes a spiritual weapon, a seed that multiplies into revelation, deliverance, and awakening for others. I speak blessing over every hand that releases support, commanding overflow, protection, and supernatural increase to follow you without delay. Do not hesitate. Heaven is watching for those who move in alignment with their activation. Stand boldly in your calling, and so with authority.